This is Tim Scher from Scher Success, author of the book, The Cure for Self-Sabotage, and here's how you overcome sabotage number 4. Sabotage number 4 is when we ask ourselves the wrong questions. William James, the founder of modern psychology, said the greatest discovery of my generation in the 20th century was that the quality of your thinking will determine the quality of your life. Tony Robbins says the quality of your thinking is determined by the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. Because what is thinking? Thinking is a process of asking yourself questions and making judgments. And you start asking questions from the moment you wake up. What kind of day is it going to be like today? How am I feeling? What's it look like outside? How's the weather? How am I ever going to get my to-do list done? What do I feel like eating for breakfast? We just go on and on and on, and then we make judgments and assumptions about the questions that we're asking as though we already know the answer. I wonder what kind of day today's going to be, right? So what we want to do is realize that the questions you ask direct your mind and direct you to the answers you're going to find. Whatever you look for hard enough, you're going to find that. So make sure that you're asking questions that direct you towards what you want, so that you feel excited about going out there and co-creating your life with God and the universe around you. So the biggest mistake that I see people making when they're thinking is they're asking themselves lousy questions. If you ask yourself a lousy question, you're going to get a lousy answer, period. Why doesn't anything ever work out for me? Because you're a loser and you don't deserve it. Ugh, right? That is a really lousy question that will lead you to an answer that is false, right? That creates fear, F-E-A-R, right? Finding excuses and reasons, false evidence appearing real, F everything and run. That was my personal favorite when I struggled with fear. Instead of transforming fear into feeling excited and ready, right? So we want to make sure that you are directing your mind. So there's two kinds of questions. There's the blame questions that end up making you feel lousy, and then there's what I call the power questions that focus your mind on finding the right answers to whatever it is that you're looking for. Remember, it's not the answers, it's the right questions. You keep developing your ability to ask the right questions, and you'll find any answer you're looking for to any situation or challenge you might be dealing with, now and in the future. So let's go ahead and think about some lousy questions. So here's some examples. I just wrote them down. They're in my book called The Cure for Self-Sabotage, which you can get a free copy of if you go to cureforselfsabotage.com. cureforselfsabotage.com, and you can get yourself a copy of this book. So anyway, here's some problem questions, right? Some blame questions. Whose fault is it? How long has this been happening? How come things never work out for me? When you're focused on whose fault is it, you're looking for somebody to blame. Now, it's okay to ask certain questions like this once in a while, like, all right, who made the mistake, so we can educate them, or we can figure out where it might have went wrong so that we can start to shift it. So that's okay. What I'm talking about is when you're like, who did this? Whose fault is this? Because now you're looking to blame somebody, and blame is never the game. What we want to do is we want to empower, educate, get feedback. How can we take this situation and learn from it and grow so that we can move forward, so that we don't make the same mistakes over and over, which is what a lot of times what people do when they get blamed. They don't learn from it, they get resentful, or they get scared to make a choice again, and then there's no opportunity for growth. There's going to be mistakes that happen. It's what you do with those mistakes that determine what kind of quality you have, the productivity that you're able to put out, and the results you're able to create. So what's the worst part of this situation? Well, if you ask yourself a question like that, then you're going to focus on the worst possible things. You know, what are all the things that could go wrong? You know, a lot of times when people are thinking about a goal, what they do is they focus on all the problems, all the challenges, all the things that could go wrong, all the reasons why it won't work out. And then, of course, they lose all motivation. They start procrastinating. Procrastination happens when you start associating pain to the goal. So if you start thinking about all the bad things that could happen, or all the work it's going to take to get there, then you're never going to do it. Like with exercise, if you imagine yourself sweaty, exhausted on a treadmill, bored out of your mind, and now you have no time for anything else, you're not going to enjoy fitness, because you're focusing your mind on all the things you don't want. So when you're asking questions like this, it's going to keep you feeling stuck. Here's a couple others. Why does this person, why does he always treat me this way? always, okay? Probably not always, but that's our victim story that we tell ourselves. But that's a question that will keep you stuck. Why does this always happen? Why don't things ever work out for me? Why me? Why this? Why now? Why not? Right? Life's not fair. Life just is, right? It just is. So we've got to make sure that instead of asking these questions that make us feel bad about ourselves, or that make us feel fear, or that make us angry at others, what we want to do is get our minds focusing on finding solutions, finding ways to get to the outcome that you desire. So I call those power questions because they make you feel more powerful, and they help empower those around you as well. Some power questions might go like this: what can we do to improve right now? How will I benefit from this experience? Rather than how am I going to lose? How could I win from this? How would my life get better? Now all of a sudden you're focusing your mind on what you want. Imagine that you're hanging out with a friend, and you ask your friend, as soon as you see your friend, you say, "Hey friend, how you doing? Hey, let me ask you a question. Why do you think my life sucks so bad?" That friend is going to want to run away from you right then and there. Okay? If you had a friend that kept coming up to you, and maybe you do, and keeps telling you all the reasons why their life is horrible, do you want to hang out with that friend, or do you go, "Oh my God, how do I get out of here?" We call them energy vampires. They just suck the life force right out of you, right? And if you're doing that, be aware, all right? Instead, what if you went up to that friend and you said, "Hey friend, how are you? Let me ask you a question. What do you think might be the first step to help me achieve this particular goal?" Now all of a sudden you're outcome focused, and they might just have an idea, a thought, an insight. They might feel appreciated or complimented that you cared enough to ask their opinion. And they might give you something really creative. And if they don't know, that's okay. At least you moved in a positive direction and it created positive energy, as opposed to feeling, that energy vampire kind of thing. Here's some other solution-oriented questions. What's the best part of this situation? Why is this important to me? What actions can I take right now to start heading in the right direction? How can I make this action or this activity more fun? Okay, when can I get started? These are questions that will keep moving you forward, that will keep directing your mind on what you can do, what is possible. Do not compare the past to where you're at. Learn from the past, but compare the present to where you're headed. Remember, the windshield of your car is 10 times bigger than your rearview mirror, because where you're headed is so much more important than where you've been. So make sure that you are getting good at directing your mind using these power questions. Now, you might have to go back through the video and listen to some of these questions again and write them down. Or all these questions are in my free ebook, The Cure for Self-Sabotage, which you can get at what was the address? At cureforselfsabotage.com. I couldn't remember. I got too many of them. Cureforselfsabotage.com. So go there and get that book. Just remember, the right question will always bring you to the right answer. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Make sure that you're focusing on power questions today so that you can keep mastering your mind, so that you can master your life. Go find these other resources that I have available for you at timsure.com. And thanks so much for watching. I hope that your day is a sure success.